In this video I'll be talking about how I made the railings for my project. Overall, I would say it's pretty well optimized. So the final version, I just hide the barrier, looks like, well, this is just a base colour at the minute. The final version looks like that, and the way this was done was for the actual pillars. This was just a circle. I think I set it to about 8 sides because you couldn't see the top or bottom. Then just edit poly, delete the top and bottom faces, and then just selecting edge loops, scaling like that, something like that, but a lot longer. So maybe something like that, and maybe. And I have 2 different sizes of those. I've got ones for the ones up here and ones for the below the upper deck. I didn't mean for them to be different sizes. They just were. My stream output is low, which is not the best, but I will cope. So yeah, I got 2 different sizes, and for this handle, that was just a box, just like that. Again, edit poly, deleted the face, selected that edge loop, and just like extruded it. Rotated it, extruded it, rotated it, and so on and so on until, I mean, those are, alright, until I got that, and I only modelled this half of it. I then symmetried it over, then that gave me a whole one of these, which you can then see I duplicate here and here, but I only have half of that because of what I do here. So with that, I then duplicate it there and here, and what I do at that point is if I select these, if this one, if I select these edge loops, vertices here, I can then, and this one, and then drag that out and add an edge loop, so like there, and then move that back, and that's how I did this bit here. With regards to unwrapping, the unwrapping was like this. So I had a large pillar, a small pillar, and all of the handles. And if I open up the UV editor, it's interesting because the texture resolution is not to scale. So if I was to pack it, you can see that these are much smaller. So everything, like all the handles, are to scale. It's just these 2 pillars that aren't. and like that's the thing, even packing that, like there was no easy way of packing these, just where it's just long planes. So if you look, what I tried to do was I tried to have a subdivision, well not a subdivision, a seam wherever it kind of changed directions. So that's straight and then it goes off into a curve, that's straight and then it goes off into a curve. So like same thing here, straight and it goes off into a curve. And for these ones, these are just cylinder wrap that I then relaxed. So let's see, there's one for there and one for there. I wanted these to be roughly the same scale, I think. Oh wait, I don't think they are actually. Yeah, no, these two are there to scale because well, in a way they're just two different materials, so where these two share the same materials they have to be the right scale, and where the handles all share the same material they have to be the scale. So that's why the packing here is a little bit, it could be better. I mean, where I've been playing around with it, it's actually not packed. So what I'll do is I will reopen the ship. Actually no, I don't, because I have this one here which is all packed. So yeah, it's interesting in that it doesn't look like it's packed well, but that's because of the complications I had with it. So once I had this all unwrapped, I then added edit poly, which then filled in all of these pillars, and then just symmetried it over like that, and then for some reason added another edit poly, which I can't remember why, but yeah, so I only had one big pillar, one little pillar, and then unwrapped and then just duplicated it from there. In terms of generating a high poly, as you can see here, I just used the example with one pillars because overlapping faces with baking, I'm not sure exactly how it would work, so I didn't want to risk it, so I used the one of the low poly. And in order to make the high poly, this was the same way I did all of my other ones, which was let's see if I can do it here actually, chamfer by smoothing groups. I got for some reason my smoothing groups here a little bit off, and then just turbo smooth, and then just played around with the chamfer settings and made it quite tight. Theoretically I could have gone a little bit smoother, like that there. It is about there, actually, I think. Yeah, it's about there. So yeah, so just chamfer and turbo smooth for smoothing groups. And then when it came to the baking, well, not baking, the texturing, the maps were baked, like, there's not really much to say. There were some issues, but they don't actually show up that bad here. It's where like the baking cage area is, it caused a little bit of like issues where it treated this side as floating geometry, so this part is embedded into the railings, and you get the same thing here, which it does look a bit off. But in terms of texturing, it was fairly easy in that I used the one of my B2M materials. Let's see if I have one. No, not here. But yeah, it's just one of my B2M materials for this one. I think I scaled it, yeah, so it's about 15 scale. Just imported all the B2M exported textures, created a new fill layer, and then just dragged all the textures into their corresponding maps. For this one, this is actually the same texture. So it is the exact, so what I did was I first did it on all of them. So like that. Thought, yeah, I like how that looks. It could just feel it could be a bit darker. So what I did was I duplicate the layer. I then masked this master lighter one to be just the pillar. Created a new folder. Masked that folder to be just the railings. Then created a new fill layer, just the colour. Set it to multiply, and then just played around with it until I got a look I liked. And yeah, that's how I made the railings. This was probably one of the easiest portions of the project, just because it's, the way I see it is it's just a glorified cylinder and a curved box. So yeah, overall it was pretty easy. I think I know how to fix this if I was to do the project again. And I think it's also to do with naming conventions and separate objects in one FBX. Where this is the same object, I think that's the issue. So if I was to do this project again, that would definitely be something I look into improving. But yeah, that is the video on how I modelled, unwrapped, and textured the railings. Thank you for watching.